Well, hello, and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest two-way propaganda. Last week, I told you about how the Nolens police tried to defy Louisiana's new permitless carry bill by simply declaring one of their police departments to be a school, thereby creating a 2,000-foot diameter defenseless victim zone right in the heart of the French Quarter because of the Federal Gun-Free School Zone Act. I also told you about the strongly worded statement the Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill issued against this scheme. But she didn't stop there.
Bend over, Blondie.
The AG went on to meet with the Superintendent of Police, the DA, and a councilwoman, and apparently she broke one off in them because they immediately modified their map of school zones, removing the police station. Murrill says she shared her concerns and that the city will attempt to find a solution which, doesn't break the law. Dan Zelenka, president of the Louisiana Shooting Association, says he believes they might try to partner with an actual school to hold some classes in the police station in order to qualify for that school zone. Or, here's a thought, maybe they could stop finding ways to get away with oppressing the people for 5 minutes. But it would be impossible for us to deliver quality two-way propaganda without sponsors, so let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by Franklin Armory. Anything worth shooting is worth shooting twice, and going binary won't trigger the Fed boys. Franklin Armory, those freedom facilitators who brought you twice the fuse with their binary firing system, because it's a scientific fact that bad guys with twice as many holes in them are half as dangerous. So in the unfortunate event you should ever need your firearm for defense, remember, it's math. It can't be wrong. And by Vortex. We've been running their Defender line of red dots hard since before launch. They found a home on all of our guns, whether for concealment, competition, or anything in between. They're rugged, they're packed with features, and they flat out perform. With the CCW, the ST, and the XL, there is a dot out there for you, and let's not forget their no questions asked VIP warranty that covers just about anything. And by Hydra. The Mark 15 Hydra is the most versatile black rifle platform the industry has ever seen. The most you will ever need to convert calibers is a barrel, a bolt, and a magazine well. Speaking of sponsors, I just watched Hickok 45's video about the tube of U's cracking down on his content, and I have a few thoughts. Firstly, I read through the June 18 policy changes again, and it doesn't look to me like Hickok was actually violating that policy in his videos. This is pure speculation on my part, but he might have gotten in trouble over links to the sponsors, not just the fact that he has gun-related sponsors. In any case, I enjoy his content, and I hope he's able to keep making videos without going broke. We'll keep doing what we do, and we'll abide by YouTube policy as best as we can figure it out, but this is also a good time to remind you to follow us on all of the other socials, and if you don't have an account at AR15.com, well, you ought to. It's also as good a time as any to remind you that YouTube often unsubscribes people from the content they enjoy. So if you like our propaganda, be sure to check to see if you're still subbed to us. And if you've been unsubscribed, leave a comment, let us know about it. Do you folks ever get tired of watching the ATF lose?
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
I know it really warms my cockles, so I have to assume it warms yours as well. While this isn't directly related to gun rights, the ATF was dealt another loss just last week when a federal judge ruled it is unconstitutional to prohibit people from distilling liquor in their own homes. This case also has a strong parallel with other ATF cases in that the feds sent one of the plaintiffs a letter threatening them with legal action based on products that were purchased online legally. Are you guys hearing this? The feds are perfectly comfortable spying on us without any indication of actual wrongdoing. And by the way, this wasn't some drug trafficking ring investigation that also happened to stumble upon some fast shooty boys or a still. This was the federal government spying on the purchasing habits of some random citizen who hadn't done anything wrong. This is exactly the same pattern we've seen them use with gun-related cases. The 8th Circuit Court of Appeals just upheld a ruling from last year which found it is unconstitutional for Minnesota to prohibit adults under 21 from carrying a gun because it violates their 2nd and 14th Amendment rights. This decision meshes with other rulings upholding the rights of young adults, and it could impact laws like the one Hawaii just passed, which prohibits adults under 21 from buying ammunition. I mean, obviously, Hawaii isn't actually, in the 8th Circuit, but the courts don't seem to be inclined to entertain any sort of nonsense about denying rights to 18-year-olds. And hey, If you want to argue that 18-year-olds aren't responsible enough to carry a gun, I could dig it, but that also means they're not responsible enough to vote, drive, sign contracts, or serve in the military without parental consent. I think it may be reasonable to raise the age of majority, but whatever age that is, it needs to be the same for all adulting activities. Question for you. What is one of the raddest guns of all time? I'll give you a hint. It's chambered in the Lord's caliber, and it goes full fast shooty boy. That's right.
A Tommy gun! Clear up!
And now you have a chance to purchase an original World War II era M1928 from a British stockpile. So you know how the US loaned those limey little pricks literal boatloads of guns with the Lend-Lease program and they never actually gave them back? Maybe somebody needs to tell the Brits what loan means. Well, Bowman Arms out of Florida says they may have found thousands of British Tommy guns. They are somewhat coy about where they were discovered, but they say they were covered in grease and have been submerged for some time in a low oxygen alpine environment. I don't know exactly what that means, but I know a tragic mountain boating accident when I hear one. I'm sorry to be a wet blanket.
Here it comes again.
But as cool as this find is, Bowman cannot import the guns as they are. They are machine guns and they are not on the NFA registry, and they cannot be added to the registry either because the 1986 Hughes Amendment. And the ATF holds the opinion that once a machine gun, always a machine gun, so they can't be converted to semi-auto either.
What the hell is here?
The only two options are to torch cut the receivers and sell them as parts kits or to sell them to 07 FFLs. And the barrels are also too short to be built into Title I rifles. And the stocks were burned by the Brits before storing them. And what wood is left is severely rotted, so there aren't a lot of useful parts there in those soon-to-be kits. On the other hand, there are a lot of guns, perhaps more than 100,000. Bowman says they think it could be all of the Thompsons the Brits had, and that number was well over 100K. Any way you slice it, this is a really cool find and should remind you why you hate the feds.
Not have to pay me. I will do it for free.
And now, for your moment of Zen.
Many men like all the men stand upon me, blood in my eye, dog, and I can't see. The president is what I'm destined to be, but Democrats trying to take my life away. Put a hole in my ear, now you don't see.
Hey friends, do you like pews and other pew-related things? Would you like to help us keep delivering you pure uncut American pew propaganda at the low price of free fitting? We literally couldn't pay the bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you.